So if you're in my class, then you're going to go back to the Schoology thing. And before you watch the rest of this video, you're going to click the link right here. So pause the video and go do that. Have you gone to the link and downloaded the picture? Okay, cool. I didn't want anybody going like, Mr. Andrada, what pictured? You know what picture. Anyway, what we're going to do is you're just going to have it popped up in your downloads. Don't worry about this. This is just where I store it. And what you're going to do is you're simply going to open Lightroom. You can do it through Creative Cloud, or you can simply just type in at the bottom of your screen, Lightroom. And your screen may not look like this. It might look completely different, but do not worry. What you're going to do is you're simply just going to open your folder back up that you downloaded it to. It's probably going to be in downloads for you. And then you're going to just simply drag that picture into Lightroom. And then it'll pop up in this little folder right here. And then you can simply just hit add one photo. So immediately it might look like this, or it might look like this. What I want you guys to do after you get this bar down is that you want to go over here and click that and close that for a second. That way you have as much screen real estate as possible. And then what I want you guys to do is simply just focus on this portion right here. This portion right here is your light. Exposure. What does it sound like? Play with it. See what it does. Pause the video. Go play with it. All right. So if you pause the video and play with it, you're going to know that it cranks the brightness up on literally everything. And I describe it as it's cranking up the signal of all of these different things down here without you even touching it. Problem being is that you can easily overboard it. So when you go over here, boom, it looks hot garbage. And then when you go over here, well, that's dark as hell. So you always want to make sure that if the picture looks dark inherently, crank up the exposure. If the picture looks bright inherently, then crank down the exposure. I will leave this right here for now. And I want you guys now to just play with the contrast. What does that do? Would you guys agree that it makes things look more distinct? Meaning like all of the details start to come out a little bit more? That's the point of contrast. It's making the darker colors darker and the lighter colors lighter. Highlights. So imagine light as a scale. And this is going to make sense for a second. So imagine the darkness of my dog's snout. It's black. It's pitch black, right? And then you have like these little in between dark and lighter, but it's more of a shadow. So that's what shadows would be. If you have this brighter, but not as bright as white area on my dog's fur, that would be your highlights. And then whites would be whites. Any of these little reflections on the bush, the whites of the, I think this is a drain pipe. The reflections on the ground, stuff like that. That would be your white because it's the brightest portions of the image. So play with your highlights, and what do you know? It's cranking down the slightly darker than white areas. So my dog's fur, I guess, and then stuff like that. And then shadows, you play with the shadows, it's doing that. And then you crank down the blacks. And that sucker, dark. Don't crank down the blacks all the time. If you ever dislike what you did and you just want to go straight back, there's a few ways to do that. Hit Control and Z, and then that reverses back. And it's also like in timeline order. So you need to hit spam Control Z to go all the way back to the beginning of what Pix did. There's also another way to do it. So let's just jack around with the sliders for a second. So what you're going to do is, instead of hitting Control Z 1,000 times, hoping and praying that you get to the right spot and don't jump over it, you're simply just going to go over to your control bar and hit double click on all of these little knobs right here. And it reverses everything back to its original position. And that works for all the controls we're going to talk about in a second. What I want you guys to do is you're going to try and make things look a little bit distinct, a little bit better, and then you're simply just going to leave it there for a second.